For most of my life, I have been a person who has been considered a troublemaker. I got my first detention in the 4th grade and spent much of my 8th grade life in the Alternative Learning Center. The ALC was a classroom at the end of our middle school that was perfectly positioned to watch the other kids play at recess. As I aged, I found myself getting in trouble with the police and unfortunately having to be incarcerated numerous times from the ages of 19 to 23. However, my last incarceration would be the best because it changed my life forever. It was October 17th, 2007, and I was out with my best friend and his family doing some early Christmas shopping. We stopped at an Arby's restaurant to get some of their delicious curly fries that are an obsolete idea in Fort Atkinson. My best friend decided to drive home, and we all jumped in the car to travel from Janesville to Edgerton, where we'd be staying for the night. I remember watching my friend quickly shoveling curly fries into his mouth from the bag on his lap. At that time, I remember a car coming towards us, flashing his high beams at us. My friend struggled to turn off the car's brights before the oncoming car had passed us, probably because of the handful of curly fries. After turning off the brights and having a quick laugh, we realized the car had turned around and was following us. My friend became really scared because he didn't have a license and there was a warrant for his arrest. I was not scared at all because my legal issues had been cleared up a couple days prior to this incident, or so I had thought. The officer came to the window and asked my friend for his license and registration, to which my friend told the officer he did not have one. The officer disappeared for a bit and then returned to the vehicle to ask me for my identification, which I had no problem giving him because I didn't know I was going to be in any trouble. The officer disappeared for a bit and returned to my side of the vehicle, asked me to step out of the vehicle, please. I asked if there was a problem, and the officer then told me I had a warrant for my arrest. I was handcuffed and taken to his squad car. Shortly after being placed in the car, I was joined by my best friend, and we were taken to the Rock County Jail for later transport to the Jefferson County facility. While in the Rock County Jail, I was trying to get some answers as to why I had been arrested. I was never told the answer while I was staying at their facility. My jail cell had a mattress, a metal toilet and metal sink, no sheets, and a cellmate who slept most of the day. The food was terrible, and you could only watch one channel on the television because it was encased with plexiglass. I stayed in the Rock County Jail for only about 3 days before I was called up to be transported. I was shackled from my ankles and my wrists to my waistline. It was like the way a dangerous criminal would be shackled in a Hollywood movie. I was helped into the van that is used for transporting inmates to other facilities, where I saw my best friend again. He was being transported at the same time as me, and we would later become cellmates at the Jefferson County Jail. I found out that I was being held for not paying a ticket. While being held for this offense, I decided to be sentenced for some other OWI offenses that I had pending. In total, I was sentenced to 9 months in jail. That was the most time I had ever been sentenced to, and wasn't sure if I would be able to stay sane. The jail was broken into 8 two-story areas called pods. They were lettered A through H, and inside each one of the pods was between 8 and 10 individual cells. Each cell either held 1 or 2 inmates, so there was roughly between 10 and 20 inmates to a pod. Officers told me when to eat, when to sleep, and even when to take my medications. During the first few months, I realized that every inmate in the jail told the same story over and over again. And they fought over the stupidest things, like desserts. By the 3rd month, I was asking myself what I had become. I had such high hopes while I was growing up. I was intelligent and hard worker. How could I end up here, never able to leave and listening to the same things day in and day out? Roughly around 4 months into my sentence, I started going to church, AA meetings, schooling, and outside counseling at the Jefferson County Human Services Department. Anything I could do to get some time outside of the pod, I would do. I also applied for a program that allowed inmates to work inside the jail in return for reducing your sentence. I received the position and was able to reduce my sentence by an entire month. After I was released, I told myself I would never come back. Within the first week, I got a job moving furniture and decided to go back to college. I was accepted in the accounting program at MATC and hope to graduate this December. I no longer have to move furniture because I have a bookkeeping position and might be starting my own business. I was once a wild young man for quite a number of years, and I don't believe that I would have slowed down if I hadn't been incarcerated for those 8 months. I rediscovered who I was and realized who I wanted to be. That amount of time, though in a crappy environment, was the best thing that could have ever happened to me and changed my life forever.